Hey everybody, and welcome to the ausTILL show, where we believe we have got a great episode for you today.
It's good to be back.
Good to be back. As always, we are produced by Chris Huckel, edited by Cade Claiborne, sponsored by the Tennessee Ministry Network of the Assemblies of God and Tennessee Youth Movement.
I'm glad somebody else is doing it because I'm not good at that stuff.
Well, today we are going to take it back a little bit. We're going to push the rewind button. We are going to look back on our younger selves.
We're going back to the sandbox today, ain't we?
Yes, but trip down memory lane. Now,
No
whether
doubt.
you're 15, 25, or even 55.
Or a young 80.
Or the young 80, right? We think that you'll find something valuable in today's show. Hopefully, something will strike you as meaningful. As always, the objective of the show is to have fun, to not have too much fun, and that we get in trouble. And number three, we really do hope that we'll say something that encourages you, deepens your faith, enriches your hunger for the Lord.
Bottom line is change your life.
Change your life. The ausTILL show is life-changing.
Life-changing.
Life-changing. We've got one topic we're going to focus on today. But before we get to that, Brooks, simple
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Aside from right now, this age, what was your favorite age in your life?
I had a lot of good years.
Yeah.
7th grade was good
Okay.
because I was coming out of elementary school. Back then, where I was, 7th grade was the start of middle school. So
Okay.
I thought I was kind of becoming a man. What I realized is I was a child. But that wasn't my favorite age. My favorite age was 18 going on 19.
Okay, why is that?
Well, one, because I graduated high school and I didn't have to go back.
Glory.
Glory.
Can any teenager watching, can we get an amen?
And I got to go work and make my own money,
Okay.
but I was still living at home, so I would blow all my money within a couple of days of making it.
What would you blow it on?
Just shoes.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Mainly shoes, and just call it what it is. I blew it on junk food. When you spend, in the year 2005, when you spend $12 at Taco Bell, you were a fatty. And that was me, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
Did you ever spend it on gas station food and snacks and candies?
Dad's probably going to get mad watching this, but I had a Chevron gas card that was my dad's.
Oh, my.
That he told me for emergencies, and I always bought my gas on his gas card. So I don't know if he knew that or what, but
It was always an emergency, Donnie.
always.
Big D, it was always an
Yeah.
emergency.
Of course, gas prices wasn't well. They were getting bad during that time. But
Yeah. Well,
yeah, best age. That was the best age for me.
Okay.
I thought I was God's gift to the earth, and I clearly found out that I was not.
Okay. Well, my favorite age was, I didn't love the teen years.
Yeah.
I was painfully awkward. I couldn't get a girlfriend.
I was just ready to get out of school.
Yeah, I wasn't. Teen years weren't great. My favorite age is probably 20.
Okay. Why?
Why
20?
When I got married.
All right. Thank you for that. We will say no more.
We will just let that linger in the air. It was a great year. Great.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
We're gonna move right on. We're gonna move right on past that.
We're just gonna leave it at that.
There ain't no doubt about it.
So, all of you who are a little older, you know what it's like to look back.
Mine was 25. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
25 was your best
25
year.
my best year. Great.
When you're older, you tend to look back on your younger self, and sometimes you cringe. Like, my gosh, I was an idiot.
Jeremy, I'm still an idiot. I still feel like I did when I was 7.
You look back on
I have the
yesterday, and
mind.
you're like, my gosh, I was an idiot.
Brittany said, I am literally, she said, it's literally like I'm married to an 11-year-old. And you know what? She's right about that.
My gosh.
No, there's no doubt about it. I still like the Goofy movie. So,
The Goofy movie
there
is
you go.
incredible. Powerline is everything.
Eye to eye, son.
If you haven't watched the Goofy movie, you don't know.
Yeah, shout out, son.
Other times you do look back on your younger years and you reminisce with a smile. You have great memories. And so today, Brooks and I are going to take a little bit of a different approach, and we are going to give you a list of the 10 things that we would say to our younger selves. And I would bet some of you will be able to relate to this list. It's possible, if you're watching on Facebook or some other platform where you can comment, that you might have your own list. Feel free to put that
please put your list down.
We would love to check that out. So we're going to dive into the list pretty quick here.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this.
Because we want to make sure that we hit all 10. And we're going to have some fun, but we really...
There is a lot of seriousness here.
Yeah, we put some thought into it.
Yeah.
And if you're 15 or a teenager in general and you're watching, we hope that you'll hear what we're saying, because some of this is stuff that we would have said to our teenage selves. If you're in your 20s, you're getting started in your career or your ministry, or you're transitioning from college, we're speaking to the 20-something-year-old version of ourselves.
Probably not even just hear it, but like really apply it to your life, because the bottom line is these things right here can change the course of direction.
Yes, these are things that, even though some of them are comical, these are things that
this is a universal list.
I legitimately wish I understood when I was younger, and probably we're going to say this to you, and if you're younger than us, you're going to roll your eyes, because when I was your age, I thought I knew everything and rolled my eyes at everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't have listened, and so go ahead and add that to the list. I would have told my young self to listen.
To listen, but that's not on the list.
So listen.
So here is the first thing that we would tell our younger selves, and again, 30s. This is for all of us.
This applies for everybody.
Number one, failure is not that big a deal. Failure is not fatal.
That's strong.
And I say that, yes, from being very imperfect, but I also say it from the perspective of when I was around 30 years old. I mean, I'd spent 10 years doing youth ministry, traveling, preaching, and up to that point, we had been relatively successful. Everything that we were a part of had life to it and grew and was fruitful. And around 30, we planted a church, and it started out well. And I won't go into the details in large part because we don't have time. Maybe I'll do another podcast one day about it.
Sure.
But 3 years in, it just wasn't going the way we thought. And Michelle and I were wrestling with a lot of internal emotions because it wasn't going the way we thought. There were a lot of layers to why we were feeling the way we were feeling.
Hard days.
Yes, painful days. And for the first time, I'd felt like a failure. Really, for the first time in my life, I felt like a failure. I started asking the question, are my best days behind me? You're 31 years old saying, are my best days behind me? Which seems silly at 42, but at 31 it felt very real. And we left. We moved back home. Man, this one right here, it's even hard to admit. We lived with Michelle's parents.
Yeah.
For like 8 months. I mean, for a good while. Trying to raise our kids in the house.
Trying to get your bearings. Trying to figure out where you were at.
Feeling like a failure.
Yeah.
And fast forward. Somewhere in the middle of all of that, the Lord starts creating a way. Starts opening doors to preach in different places. And next thing I know, Michelle and I are sitting in a conference room having a conversation with Pastor Terry Bailey about the role that we're in now in District Youth Director.
I'm thankful there was a failure in your life.
Right. That failure was exactly what I needed. That failure wasn't final, to use the cliche. And so I say that to say if you fail, so what?
Failure's good in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We just explained one.
It's not going to end your life. If you fail, get up and keep going. Learn from it, but failure is not that big a deal. And so the flip of that is don't be afraid to try. The worst that can happen is you'll fail.
Yeah.
I give that advice to people a lot in ministry because they're concerned about, well, should I try this? Should we plant this church? And hey, worst thing that can happen is it won't work. and then you'll figure something else out with the help of the
I've
Lord.
done a few things right and a lot of things wrong, so
Yeah,
I know about failure.
So failure is not that big a deal. Brooks, number 2.
Number 2 on the list is listen to your parents and the elderly.
Okay.
Spend time with the ones. Here's the deal, and here's the eye roll moment for a 15-year-old watching this. I'm not listening to my parents. You're thinking things like they're lame, they don't know. You know, my dad wears Mall Walker Nikes. You know,
New Balance.
here's the deal. He's wearing those because he's journeyed and his feet hurt. So, sitting down with your parents, they were you at one point, and chances are you got a lot of the same character traits that they have. They could probably talk a lot of sense into your life.
Right.
The elderly, we don't call them that generation mountain climbers for anything. They've went, they've seen, they've done. They can give you advice. And listen, we talk about being able to read somebody's mind would give us an advantage. You're able to listen to somebody who's already went before. You would have a tremendous advantage.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is your parents and the elderly, they're not going to be around forever.
Right.
And one day you're going to be sitting in those shoes. And so if I could tell my younger self, of course I was always good about this. I always liked the older crowd. But I would have spent even more time with the ones that have set the tone, have set the pace for us younger guys. So that's number 2 on the list. And whatever you want to say on
just
that.
A couple of things you said sparked a thought. Number 1, when you said they're not going to be here forever, I can just say as a 42-year-old, I never imagined that I would turn 40 and my dad wouldn't be here.
You just don't know.
No. And so I say, because you don't know, don't waste a moment. And then I know that generationally we're all different. Each generation is different. The circumstances around each generation's life is different. But there are some principles about life that are as old as time. There are certain ways of thinking and seeing the world that they don't rust.
They don't.
They stay very valid. And so being willing to hear from people, they might not understand the technology.
Right.
They might wear the New Balance. They're probably wearing the New Balance so you can wear the J's.
There ain't no doubt.
Or so you can go to college.
That's a great point too.
And the last thing I would say on that is those of you that are transitioning out of high school into the college season of your life, that's really painful for your parents. It hurts. It's hard for them. And so be easy on them.
Empty nesting is a real thing.
Well, and they love you more than you. You cannot comprehend how much your parents love you. You can't comprehend it. It's impossible for you to understand it. And so take it easy on them. Don't be so hard on them.
Ease up off of them.
Number 3, I learned, or I would tell my younger self, most of the time, the issue is me, not them.
That's a hard one to swallow right there.
Oh, man, when I was younger, it was everybody else's fault. Everybody else was dumb.
Yeah.
Everybody else didn't know what they were doing. Everybody else was wrong. And if situations got difficult, or if situations weren't going well, or if relationships got sideways, I had this tendency to deflect blame, or at the least to not be introspective and try to figure out if maybe I was at fault. So I'm just going to tell you, in life, most of the time the issue is you. And if you'll live that way, even if it's not you, you'll be starting at a good place that says, I want to develop, I want to grow, I want to make sure that I'm in a good spot.
Even if somebody did you wrong.
Yeah.
And they're the problem. On the front hand, you having a terrible attitude towards it, and you retaliating, or having a mentality like that, or poor attitude, or whatever it is you want to call it, then all of a sudden, you're the problem.
Yes. Yes, even if you were wronged, if you...
When you could be the solution.
That's so great. All right, so number 4.
Number 4, a right heart is better than big accomplishments.
Yes.
If you don't have a right heart, if what's going on the inside of you is not pure and honest and good and points towards the Lord, pretty much. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's everything. Then it don't matter what you accomplish in this life, because you missed out on being a good person. And if you're not a good person with a good heart, it don't matter what you do, because everybody will be able to see through you.
Right. in simple, and I wish I would have understood this in my 20s and even in my early 30s. Being right with the Lord in here. You know, we think of being right with the Lord a lot of times as far as our actions and sinnage. Being right with the Lord in here is way more valuable than the applause from people that you get because of your accomplishments. The applause of the people because of what you accomplish, number one, is fickle. The minute you don't accomplish or they don't like what you accomplish, their applause is done. But number two, it's not eternal.
Right.
And when you stand before the Lord, the older I get, the more I come to the realization, when I stand before the Lord, I'm not going to hold all of my trophies up and my accomplishments and say, hey, evaluate me. All I'm really going to have is my heart.
That's it.
Here it is. This is what I did with who I am.
Yeah.
So
stepping on somebody to get there, lying on somebody to get there, manipulating the situation to get there. What do you think the Lord thinks about that?
Being competitive.
And I'm a competitive person. And some of these things, it's hard. It is hard to do sometimes because you do want to accomplish great things. But at the end of the day, you're giving the Lord your heart and you're saying it's either good or bad.
Yeah.
So
it's good to dream. I challenge you and encourage you to dream and believe that you can do great things. But the greatest thing you will ever do is guard your heart.
That's the biggest accomplishment of your life.
Number 5, and this one's a little interesting. People come and go.
Man.
Love hard. I didn't understand this earlier in my life. People are only in your life seasonally. There are very, very, very few people that when they enter your life, whenever they hit your timeline, that they will forever stay on your timeline.
Wow.
Very few. So sometimes our tendency when we begin to realize that these people are in my life temporarily is we slash and burn. We diminish the value of the relationships because these aren't long haul relationships. I would offer you the counter advice, realizing that, hey, in your times as a teenager, the people you're going to school with, that's short timing. The overwhelming majority aren't going to be there.
Probably never going to see them again.
College years, same thing. One ministry stop to the next, one job to the next. Instead of diminishing relationships because they probably aren't long-time relationships, love people as hard as you can and as well as you can and value them as much as you can to make the biggest impact
and leave
possible.
Something with them.
Yes.
People are your greatest asset.
Yes, aside from the Lord.
Regardless if they come or go.
Yeah. Yep.
Besides the relationship with the Lord, they are the Lord moves through people.
So love hard. Don't look at them as instruments to get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
They are people. Number 6, Brooks.
Number 6, you will get where you want to be. It's just going to take longer than you think.
My gosh.
Patience.
Yep.
Patience is key.
Yeah.
It is key. Let me go ahead and tell you this. I know a lot of you are wanting to get married because your friends are getting married. It might not happen as quick as you think.
Right.
I mean, it might not happen tomorrow. Patience. I know you want to have a big house, but it might take 30 years for you to get it.
Yes.
Patience is everything. It may not happen when you want, but you prepare for the future by living in the now. So
that's good.
You just got to stay the course and say, I want this, but here's the deal. What can I do today to get me there? And when you get there, that's when you get there.
Right. Whenever
Don't be in a hurry.
You're going to get there if you make the right decisions, you treat people the right way, you guard your heart, you do the right things, then you're going to get to where you want to go. I just have learned that it's never as fast as you think it's going to be. And a lot of people get so discouraged at the pace, at the slow pace.
It's taken me a decade, maybe, to get to some things that I want to do.
And so instead of staying the course, you bounce around trying to find the thing instead of just staying locked in and realizing this is going to take a while. You know, I wrote my first book a couple of years ago at age 40. Yeah. I was typing on a typewriter when I was single digits in age.
Yeah.
It took a while to get there. You'll get there when you get there. We didn't buy our first house until we were in our mid-30s.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
Get there when you get
when
there.
you get there. And so trust the process. Trust the Lord. Don't be in such a hurry. Don't, because it's not happening as fast as you want, don't start trying to make a bunch of changes.
Don't settle.
Yeah, don't settle, and don't scramble around like a rat on crack.
That is 100% accurate.
We're gonna knock through these next few. Number 7, you can't grow until you discern why you are the way you are.
Find yourself.
Right. Figure out what
Yes.
makes you tick. And I don't mean personality profiles.
No.
I mean, if there are certain traits and behaviors in you that you know aren't ideal, or that you need to grow out of, or you need to mature, or you just don't. The best way to deal with that is to figure out where it started, the roots of it, why you're doing it. You know, I had a high focus on accomplishments, like desperately wanted to be validated through that. Well, you trace it back, and you can start tracing it back to relationships with your father,
Soul searching,
or some wound that you had. You can't grow fully as a person until you do enough internal research, if you will, Holy Spirit led research to figure out. And so once you figure out the root, then you can drown the root. You can hammer the root with the truth and the Word of God. And I wish I would have understand that. I just ran as hard as I could toward God in my younger years, which is noble and good.
Yeah.
But I still had traits that would not leave me no matter how bad I wanted to, until I woke up to the reality that I've got to deal with where this started. It's a little psychological, but it's really important. Because you know what? Let me say this, and then we got to move on.
Yeah.
You can pray every single day, but if you're not praying the right prayers, if you're not addressing the right things, then the effectiveness of your prayer is minimized. You've got to know. You can quote scripture, but you need to know which scriptures to quote.
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
do the next one, Brooks.
That's so good.
Number 8.
Other folks don't think about you near as much as you think about yourself.
Younger self, you need to know that.
That is the bottom line. The things you care about today, nobody is even thinking or is even on their radar.
No.
Like, you think that person likes you and they probably don't. That's what I would tell to my younger self.
Yeah.
They're not going to remember. They're not going to remember the details of your life usually.
Right. You stressed out over your hair because it won't do right. Don't nobody care. You know why?
Because they're not worried about you.
They're worried about themselves. They're worried about their jacked up hair.
They're thinking the same thing you're thinking.
Right. They don't care about the zit on your face. They're worried about the one on theirs.
There ain't no doubt about it. But I can tell you, I do remember a few zits in my day.
Oh, I've had some that were. I thought they were going to burst, and my brain was going.
My chin looked like a pepperoni pizza at one point in my life. So there you go.
Gosh. I didn't have like a lot of zits. I mean, it's kind of weird. I would have them that were gigantic.
Gigantic.
I mean, it would look like I had a growth on the side of my face.
It'd be in the middle of between my eyes, or up on my nostril, or up on my lip.
It looked like I was growing a nose on the side of my face. So
no doubt about it.
Simply put,
Rudolph, son.
Just go ahead and tell yourself this now. People aren't paying near as much attention to you as you think they are, because they're too busy paying attention to themselves.
There ain't no doubt about it.
So don't worry about what everybody thinks about you. Don't be stressed out over stuff, because I promise it.
And I'll just go back to number 5, because people come and go.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Number 9, build relationships with people who are where you want to be. And this one is strategic. If you've got a call to preach on your life, then find people that you respect and admire and build a relationship with them. Now, I'm going to tell you, they're going to be so busy doing the thing that they're doing. They're going to be so busy, focused, that you're going to have to fight for the relationship. You're going to have to push. That's not always right.
Squeaky wheel gets degrees.
Yeah. And I don't love that. I think as older generations, we've got to do a better job of intentionally fathering. Nonetheless, if you see somebody that has something on their life that you say, I want to pursue that, then be aggressive about the relationship. If it's business, find the person that's getting it done.
Right.
And learn from them. Surround yourself with people that are smarter. I mean, and this is so like
it's
leadership cliche information.
Really, it's good information though.
But I have found that a lot of times because of our insecurities, we tend to surround ourselves with people that we feel superior to.
Right.
Because it makes us feel good about ourselves. Like we want to be the best looking one in our friend group. We want to be the smartest one in our friend group. We want to have the most money in our friend group.
Right.
And that's all fine and well if you got a hero complex and you want everybody to think you're awesome. But I'd rather be awesome than everybody think I'm awesome.
Yeah.
So find people and make an intentional effort. The field, the calling, the whatever it is.
In a roundabout way, people that you think are better than you, not people that think they're better than you, but people that you say, hey, I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, we talked about the squeaky wheel. When they see you're committed, they might commit to you a little bit more. And so...
Two thoughts. Number one, pretty much everybody likes to be an expert. We all kind of like to. And so here's a tip for those of you trying to find somebody, hey, I want a mentor or whatever. That person loves to be an expert.
Right.
If you will go to them as if they are an expert, they'll probably give you their attention.
Wow.
That's a pro tip.
Pro tip
right there. And then
you can only go up when you hang out with people that are up there.
Right. But then the other side of it is don't just look for people that have the kind of money you want, or the kind of platform you want, or the amount of social media followers you want. Look for people that have the heart you want.
The right heart.
Look for people that have the type of honesty you want. For people that have the integrity that you want it. Don't just do surface things.
Good example, Brother Burks.
My gosh. Some of y'all, most of y'all don't know
who he is. Who Brother Glenn Burks is?
He's one of the godliest men
on the planet.
Let me just, an aside as a young leader, let me just offer this. Don't be prone to be attracted to shiny things. And by that I mean there are some men and women of God that you need in your life, but they ain't got the biggest church, or they ain't got the most money, or they're not the best dressed, or they're not the most flashy, but you need them in your life. Be mature enough to get past the surface.
Find those people.
All right, that last one. Hit number 10 there, Brooks.
Not everyone gets a voice in your life.
Preach.
You have you have a free will. You have a mind of your own, and let me tell you something. You can pick and choose who speaks into your life.
Yeah.
And if a person's not speaking the things that are of God in your life, you don't have to listen to them.
Absolutely.
I've been told a lot about myself that were absolute lies from the enemy.
Yeah.
And I chose to tune some people out. Find somebody like a Jeremy. This guy right here can speak into my life. He can tell me things I may not want to hear, but they're right. He can tell me, he can make me feel good about myself. But this guy right here speaks into my life, and you know what? Because he's been on this journey with me, he gets to be a voice in my life.
Yeah.
If they're not gonna be on the journey with you, there's no need listening to them.
Right. I suggest this, and obviously we don't want to just surround ourselves with people that are singing our praise and telling us everything we want to hear. Obviously.
I mean, that's good sometimes.
It's nice to have a few that no matter what, they're going to celebrate you.
Have the hard conversations with you.
Yeah, but what I'm saying more is go ahead and make some decisions about whose voice matters. There are a lot of people that are going to have an opinion. And they're going to share those opinions, and they're going to tell you what they think, and they're going to have thoughts about you. But you can decide which one of them, which ones of those, their opinions actually matter.
Right.
That their opinions move the needle. There are a lot of people that have opinions about me. I couldn't care less. Because they're not positioned in my life or in my world to where their opinion matters. And I don't say that flippantly or arrogantly. Some people's opinion matters more than others. Go ahead and make a list.
You know what they say about opinions. I ain't going to say it, but they all stink.
Say it. So that's our 10. We got a few extras, just that these didn't. Yeah. These are on the cutting room floor. They didn't make the main list. First,
you started this list out right at number 1.
Yeah, I started. So the 42-year-old Jeremy would tell the 20-year-old and 21-year-old Jeremy, this is what I would tell myself: enjoy Vol football now, because it'll be brutal when you're older. I would tell my younger self, you better enjoy this, because it is going to be wretched. I hate the Vols. I love them and I hate them.
Alabama went through a rough patch, but now I'm enjoying it.
I don't want to hear that.
I'm enjoying it.
Just hush.
Can I go ahead and just say 2 and 3?
Yeah, you please do.
2 and 3 on this list. I would tell my younger self, exercise more. Number 3, develop good eating habits. I'm going to let y'all know something. I wish I would have developed better eating habits, because I wouldn't be in the shape that I am now trying to figure out where my life went. That sun drop wasn't worth it. That honey bun, although incredible, maybe not worth it.
Not worth it. I would tell my teenage self, don't waste your money on that GNC creatine, because you ain't going to get ripped, dog.
All you're going to be doing is giving your money away.
16-year-old Jeremy, don't go to GNC. Waste of money.
You took it 3 times and you left the big thing on your shelf, and that was it.
It was awful. It didn't work. Do number 5.
Being amazing at video games will literally get you nowhere.
That's a good thing to tell you.
You know what was good about my days of playing NCAA football on the PlayStation?
What?
Is that they did away with NCAA football. So it really...
Although I will say, like, dude, there are young men and women right now that they have millions of followers.
Not
on
very many, though.
Twitch. No, most of them ain't nobody watching them play video games.
Not very many.
Number 6, never wear white shorts on a youth group trip, male or female. Never wear white shorts.
This applies to everyone.
Everyone, never.
Do not wear anything white.
Do the next one. We have Craig.
We're going to go ahead and move right along. Here's one of my personal favorites I added to the list. Always have a towel or a roll of toilet paper in your vehicle at all times.
Always. I mean,
when you get in a tight spot and you're on a backcountry road, you might have to go home without a sock or undershirt.
Or underwear.
Or underwear. And let me just tell you, I know from experience. Move on to the next one.
That ain't even that hard. Just put the paper.
Put it under your seat. Trust me, you're going to need it.
I would tell my younger self, that girl you like is going to turn into a crackhead. Are you allowed to say that?
I hope they're not watching, but there's a lot of girls that I liked in my younger teenage years, and I'm looking on Facebook right now thinking, I am so glad that did not work out.
What did Garth Brooks sing? God's greatest gift is unanswered prayers. My gosh.
I mean, the Lord knew
exactly
what I needed. I'm thankful for Brittany.
Every girl I ever liked was just it was dumb.
Now that's not all of them. There's a few that are.
It's not that the girls are dumb.
No,
it just wasn't it.
There's a few that are great, but the rest of them.
Do
are
number
not.
9.
Number 9. Prom is going to be a big disappointment.
Just go ahead and know that now.
It is overrated. It is overhyped, and it is about the dumbest thing ever.
I didn't go to my prom. You know why?
I went.
I was at youth camp.
I went and I was home by 10 or 10:30 at night.
I'm super Christian. I was at youth camp for my prom.
They had you. When was your prom?
My gosh, it was in the month of June. I was at camp.
That's unbelievable.
I was catching the Holy Ghost. All right, number 10. Good.
Unanswered prayers.
Unanswered prayers. Number 10, and we're done. I would tell my college self, do not pull the fire alarm at 3 a.m. in the college door. Because the fire department will come and you'll almost get kicked out of college. I would tell myself, don't do that. Although, honestly, though, I'd probably tell myself, go ahead and do it because you're not going to get kicked out of school.
You know what? If I was there with you, I would have pulled the fire alarm too.
All right. So, thanks for watching the show today. Thanks for listening on our podcast.
Listening.
Be sure to share this with your friends. Make sure everybody experiences 10 things I would tell my younger self. You can follow Brooks and myself on Instagram at Jeremy ausTILL, at BrooksTill. Same on Twitter. Hey, share the ausTILL show with your friends. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time.
Be safe.